everybody, this is Rustin Rose of Metalholic Magazine and Metal Nation Radio, and joining us tonight, Jill Janus, the Huntress herself, the new album Static, a week away. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, bro. I'm totally stoked. Can't wait. 1 week away.
Yeah, I can't. This has been sort of a weird, strange year for you, but you coming out of it on fire, and I'm just so stoked that we've got new music coming. You're about a week or two away from hitting the Motorhead motorboat cruise, so we're excited for that. So you've got to be pretty amped up right about now.
Yeah, man, releasing a record, especially like the promotion and getting ready to just unleash for the fans and seeing all of the touring possibilities coming up. It's a really exciting time. It's my favorite part of the whole process.
Well, I'm not going to lie. We were all a little bit disappointed you were unable to do the Avatar tour, but we certainly hope you're getting back to where you need to be health-wise, and we're looking forward to whatever's going to be coming up this fall or winter after you're done with the Motorhead thing and where you're going to take us on tour this year.
Yeah, man, it's always a bummer when you have to, step back and take time out and heal. But if you don't heal, obviously there's going to be no longevity. So, and for me, I ain't one to sit still. So kind of going crazy.
Oh, I'll bet. I remember when we first talked, you said, I want to put an album out every 6 months to a year. And you've sort of had to slow down a little bit for Static. So let's talk about the new record. You and Blake have brought some new members into the fold with this record. How did their individual energies sort of impact making the new record?
They're just amazing, and on so many levels. Eli Santana as our new guitarist, joining Blake, and then Tyler Meal is Blake's little brother on drums. So it's really it feels like a family now. And Eli and Tyler are also in Holy Grail, so they're kind of doing double duty. But the reason why we've had this most recent lineup change is really because of that fast pace and setting those goals. And yes, we have written one album a year, and that's been, something I've really wanted to do as soon as we were signed with Napalm Records. But keeping up that pace, writing, touring relentlessly, coming home, not having money, getting back on the road, girlfriends and wives getting pissed off. So, we've had to make a couple of changes with lineup, and that's really the reason why. But now we feel like we're the best and the strongest and the tightest we've ever sounded.
Well, and as we said, a lot of stuff has sort of happened over the last year or so, which may have slowed down the process a little bit with Static. But you've had more time to grow as songwriters over that time. You've had a lot of new life experiences. How did all that affect and sort of play into writing and making the new record?
This album is absolutely the most prolific that we've done, and the most cathartic for me, especially considering, recently revealing my struggles with mental illness. So much of this album is inspired by those struggles. And I feel that as an artist, I'm able to relate in a different way to fans now because I'm putting that out there and trying to abolish a little bit of the stigma. And my bandmates have really been the ones to kind of push me in the direction of making things known publicly. So I have to give them a lot of credit.
Well, and I was gonna talk about this a little bit later, but since you segued into it, I had an opportunity to read the interviews you did with Revolver and with Psychology Today, and I have to commend you first and foremost. But my day job, I work in a women's prison with women who have drug addiction, substance abuse, and probably 3/4 of them have some level of mental health or mental illness issues. And I shared with them sort of some of your story, and they were all so excited to hear somebody who is so prominent speaking out about this because there is that stigma, and so many of them are dealing with it, and they were very inspired.
Well, first of all, that's heavy that you work at a women's prison. So I commend you on that. That's totally rad. Women especially, we're very hormonal. We're, very easily swayed into alcoholism or drug dependency. It's just kind of our nature. So you add mental health issues on top of that, and it could be potentially explosive. So many of the women, I'm sure, that are in prison that you see daily, are there because of some sort of mental illness. I mean, that often triggers, criminal activity. So, yeah, if I can make women or, men, whoever, feel like someone out there is a voice, then that's great. I didn't expect to be a voice or a champion for mental illness at all. I just told my story because it was going to relate to Static. I really wanted to have the brutal honesty out there. When people are listening to the album, what's really the undercurrent of Static? Why is this, what's making this album tick? And that's really the truth. Then I received so much support that I've just gotten opportunities coming to me, like the Psychology Today, which is a very legitimate magazine. I just went for it. I don't hold anything back.
Well, that's never been your nature anyway, so.
Hell no.
Every time you create a new record, it's like birthing a new child into the world. And each child is special in its own way. What about this record from your perspective? You said it's the most prolific, but what about this record really stands out for you, maybe, compared to the other two children, if you will?
Well, it's hard to say. First of all, they are like children, therefore I can't say which one I love the most, but I love each for different ways. And falling into my pagan ways and the worship of nature and the 3 albums, which I call my trilogy, and the boys even in the band supporting that trilogy from the very beginning. So we have the 3 albums. Now the trilogy is complete. The prophecy is fulfilled. Spell Eater is in the maiden phase. Starbound Beast in the mother phase, and now we're coming into Static, which is the crone phase. And the crone is brutal, nasty, horny old cunt. And this was the woman that was really the force driving underneath the album. So there's a lot of brutality. There's a lot of, doom elements as well, sadness, sorrow, and also wisdom. So that's kind of the driving force behind it is the fact that each of the records falls into place with this imagery. And I would say for sure that this is our heaviest and our catchiest album so far. We chose the producers, Paul Fig and Jim Rhoda, because we wanted it to be more melodic and more accessible, and we got it.
Well, thank you again for the nice segue, because my next question was, you got a chance to work with Jim and Paul on this album. What was that experience like? Because they're both phenomenal in their own unique ways, and they bring so much to the table. What did you take away from that experience?
Their souls. I put those boys through the ringer. Oh, man. They were so calm and patient with me. We started, writing this record in 2014. And we kept getting delayed with the progress of pre-production because we were touring so much. We had just gotten off the road with Lamb of God in January 2014 after doing, North America with them, and then we were in the UK and Europe. We were back. Blake was banging his head against the wall trying to write this. I was having a lot of issues with my mental health, and I wasn't medicated, so I was really becoming, difficult at times. Moving on, we were then on tour with Arch Enemy, and that progressed into Amon Amarth. So we were breaking up time, trying to write, trying to do pre-production, and Jim and Paul were in this for over a year of working, with Huntress on creating the sound. So they've been so patient. So you can tell it's been a long, drawn-out process. Then we get into the studio finally in January of 2015, and bam, I get diagnosed with stage 1 uterine cancer. So here's the option. I can either complete the record and push surgery off, knowing it's cancer, not knowing if it's spread, and I chose to do that. So here I am in the recording studio, drinking heavily, losing my mind, crying in between takes, not knowing what was going to happen with surgery, not knowing if my insurance would go through. So, that was very, very heavy for everyone, and Jim and Paul were so patient with me. And, I did wait. The day I finished recording vocals, it felt like the crone had left and that I was able to be free again and then focus on my health. So, I made some decisions and they supported it, but it was brutal.
Yeah, it's never an easy thing. I can't even imagine what that was like going, because it's not just one thing. It's not just I've got cancer, but you were dealing with these other mental health issues, and to have it all come together at one time when you're working on the most important piece of creativity you've done so far in your career, that just had to be exhausting on every level.
Yeah, it was exhausting for everybody, but it birthed as a very beautiful and brutal heavy metal album, and I couldn't be more proud. And it's really, going back to Eli and Tyler being on board, these two boys have brought a very new modern sensibility to Huntress. And, we worked with Aunt Crocomo and Carl Wiersbicki and Eric Harris on the previous albums. And, those boys were very patient with me and wonderful. But I've got to say, working with Eli, Tyler, and Blake Neal together, I've never been happier, and I've never felt such wonderful musicianship and commitment than with this current lineup.
And who actually laid down the bass tracks on this record?
That's a secret.
Oh, okay.
That's a secret. Yeah, and actually, Paul and Jim don't want me to reveal that yet. So there is a ghost player on Static.
Interesting. So we'll have to wait for the secret to come out. Hopefully this is...
whenever they give the green light. I'm not allowed to talk about it. But it's someone who you would know.
I understand. So hopefully this part isn't a secret. I know you guys have made a video for Sorrow. What can you share about that, and do we know when it will debut?
Sorrow will premiere the day Static is released, on Friday, September 25th, on loudwire.com.
Nice. So we're a week away from getting to see that. What can you tell us about the video, or are we just keeping it hush until then?
Oh, no. I mean, we've been very revealing of the context of it because we've been posting a lot of behind-the-scenes footage, or I should say photos. And Phil Mucci, again, is the director. Now, he directed Zenith, which just blew minds in 2013. That came out, and we won a slew of awards, and he's just a genius. I mean, that's I've never worked with anybody like Phil Mucci. He really has so much integrity and dedication to everything he does, and that's the way Huntress is. We have a lot of, commitment to our legacy, and that's why we put so much effort into our music videos. So, I feel like this is really gonna kind of top Zenith, and that's really very brave of me to say because Zenith is just so out there and so spectacular. But this will have a different side that no one has ever seen of Huntress. It's, as opposed to being heavy with CGI effects, this is more live action.
Oh, nice. So before we get out of here, one more question. You guys are going to be doing the Motorhead Motorboat Cruise here at the end of the month. What is on tap after that? Do you guys already have sort of a tour lined up, or is that sort of on the down low right now? Or
we're keeping our tour plans after the Motorboat Cruise quiet right now, and the reason why is because I don't want to have to announce a bunch of dates and then have my doctors come in and kill the fun with, sorry, doctor's orders, you need to rest more and we have to continue the healing process. We do have dates planned, and we will be touring heavily, and we're planning on touring this fall. But again, I just want to be very careful with announcing anything until after Motorboat and after I see my doctors again and they give me approval that, yeah, you are healed enough for your hysterectomy to go back and tour relentlessly. It's all about longevity here. If I don't heal properly now, I'll have chronic issues in the future, and that will delay more progress. So we're going to be very careful about announcing, and we will be announcing after Motorboat.
Absolutely. We want you around giving us new music and your creative genius for as long as possible. And that's sort of been hard this last week or two. I know you're dear friends with Lemmy, and it's been hard having to watch him cancel these shows, knowing that he's been struggling with his health. And it's, as a fan, you want him to just keep staying out there, but also you want him to, maybe it's time to take a break. We want you to stick around as long as you can.
Yeah. I ain't worried about Lemmy, though. I ain't worried about Lemmy, just to let everybody know. I've been texting with him. He's doing great, and he's a warrior. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with him on the boat, and like I said, performing I Want to Fuck You to Death for him.
Awesome. Jill Janus, Huntress, the new album Static, out September 25th. Sorrow, the new video, will be coming out the same day. We are so happy for you. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk with us, and have a great time on the Motorboat Cruise.
Oh, yeah, I will. I'm looking forward to motorboating some hot babes. I'll tell you that right now.
Take care, Jill.
All right, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.